Hey, what's up, Worship Leader Hangout? Today we're going to be talking about chord substitutions. What is a chord substitution? A chord substitution is replacing one chord with another chord. For example, let's say you were going to play a B flat, and you're like, what can I do to make it more interesting? You can actually replace it with a D flat. So we're going to talk about a really basic substitution, which is replacing the major 5 with a flat 7. However, we're going to talk about some more advanced substitutions later on in the video. So let's get started. In this song, What a Friend We Have in Jesus, I replace the major 5 with a flat 7 in the section of all our sins and griefs to bear. So this is what it is. All right. So instead of playing that 5 chord, I replace it with a flat 7. Okay. So what is the 5 chord? What is the flat 7? So let's go ahead and put ourselves in the key of C. And if you have not seen our basic progressions video, stop this, go and look at that, go and get an idea of progressions, go familiarize yourself with it, and then come back to this one. So, for a brief recap, we're in the key of C, and this is the C major scale, and I'm just going to use numbers, not letters. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. So we go to the 7th note, which is what? B, and then we go down a half step, and that's the flat 7. So what is the 5th note? The 5th note is G, remember each one of these notes has a corresponding chord to it. So the G note has the chord G major corresponding to it, and we're going to replace it with a flat 7, which is the B flat or B flat major, which is the corresponding chord. So now let's go ahead and take this 6-4-1-5 progression, and let's practice hearing what it sounds like first with the G, with the 5 chord, and then with the flat 7 chord. And you're going to get a very interesting sound. So this is what it sounds like. The 5 chord first. Now with the flat 7 right here. Did you hear how it was almost like it took it somewhere else? So that's what kind of you do when you're doing chord substitutions. It's like you're going for a really different sound that actually fits into what you're playing. And so a very common one is replacing the 5 with a flat 7. And so remember to practice that in your other keys. For example, at my church, I go to a very traditional church, and we sing a song called Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing, and I use a chord substitution whenever I can, get the other musicians to do it with me. And this is what it is. That's the 5 chord, which is an A. Now, listen to this other section. Replacing the 5 with the flat 7 really does produce, I don't know, I think one of the most interesting sounds there is, and a lot of advanced musicians do it. Okay, so now let's go ahead and talk about it in a more advanced way. Like what are some things you can do? So really, let's go back to the key of C. The reason why the flat 7 works, I believe it's because it's coming from the diminished scale, and in the diminished scale, so let's look at the diminished chord for a second. It's G, it's B flat, it's D flat, and it's E. Those are the notes in the diminished chord. If you don't know your diminished scale, in the G diminished scale, for example, you actually have a G major, you have a B flat major in the scale, you have a D flat major, and you have an E major. And each one of those inside the scale produce the same degree of tension. So in the diminished scale, there's not actually a there's not actually one tonic, but there's actually four. So G, B flat, D flat, and E all have the same value. Like everything can correspond to that. So it can correspond to those particular chords. So I'm gonna go ahead and replace the G. You've already heard me replace it with the B flat, but you can actually replace the 5 chord with the D flat or the E. So let's listen to what they sound like, all right? In the same 6-4-1-5 progression. So here we go. Let's listen to the 5 chord first. Now to the D flat. Now to the B flat, the one we did. Okay. So I replaced it with the D flat, the E, and the B flat. Another thing that you can do is you can actually keep your bass note as G, and you can just replace it with one of those chords in your right hand only. So I'm gonna go ahead and play a 2-5-1 progression in the key of C, and I'm gonna replace it first with the D flat, then the E, then the G, then the B flat. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and do it with the like a G dominant 7 or something first, just so we get that sound in our head. So let's listen to it. 2-5-1. Now I'm gonna go ahead and place it with the D flat, but I'm gonna keep the G in the bass. All right. Now I'm gonna do the same thing with the E. And now I'm going to do it with the B flat in my right hand. I'd probably want to change that voicing, and normally I do. Yeah, something like that. So, there you have it, alright? If you like what you saw, please like the video. And if you want more videos like this, please subscribe to our channel. Chad and I are working really hard. We got some really cool things in the works coming this year. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we appreciate the support. Remember, great worship leaders are always learning. Thanks again.